Daniel arrives at his gated community late at night, exhausted but relieved to finally be home. He tightly grips the keys he has used for years, a simple object that symbolizes belonging, safety, and identity. As he approaches the entrance, he notices a new security guard posted there, someone he has never seen before. At first, he assumes staff changes are nothing unusual. He nods, tries to scan his key fob, but the scanner flashes red. The lock doesn't click. A sudden feeling of disconnect rises in Daniel's chest, but he brushes it off. Technology fails sometimes. Before Daniel can try again, the guard steps forward, posture stiff and confrontational, already treating him like a problem. The guard asks for identification, and Daniel complies without hesitation, showing his ID, lease card, even his name on the mailbox visible just a few steps beyond the gate. But instead of accepting proof, the guard looks at him like his documents mean nothing. The expression on the guard's face changes, not confusion, but accusation. And then the words come, sharp and ice cold. "Sir, you don't live here." That sentence flips Daniel's world upside down. This is not a misunderstanding. This is a denial of his very existence in this place. The neighborhood that once recognized him suddenly feels hostile and foreign. The guard puts his hand on his radio, calling in a trespassing report. And Daniel realizes this is no small mistake. The HOA, the authority governing this entire community, has already made up its mind. They have erased him. The night echoes with approaching sirens, and Daniel's heart begins to race. The home behind him, his sanctuary, is now a battlefield where he must prove he belongs. As red and blue lights flash across Daniel's home, the HOA manager, Erica Hayes, arrives with a clipboard, not concerned, not confused, just cold and absolute in her stance. She asks his name with a robotic calmness, as if the situation is routine. Daniel insists that he lives in Unit 214, his voice trembling between anger and disbelief. Erica shows him the official resident list, printed and sealed by Community Authority. Daniel's heart drops when his name is nowhere to be found. Instead, under his unit number, there's a completely unfamiliar name, someone he has never met, never heard of, never agreed to sell to. Daniel's breath tightens. He tries to fight logic with evidence. Check the payments, check my emails. But when he pulls out his phone to show proof, the unthinkable happens. The HOA emails he uses every month? Gone. Automated payment receipts? Erased. It's like someone is deleting parts of his life as he stands there. Every digital trace of his residency is vanishing, not slowly, but in real time like a planned wipeout. Erica refuses to discuss further, repeating the same chilling line. "Sir, please leave. Someone else lives here now." Daniel turns towards the door of what used to be his home. The light is still on inside. His life is inside that building. His memories, his bed, his photographs. Yet the law is now against him. A police officer steps forward with practiced authority. "If you refuse to leave, we will detain you for trespassing." Daniel realizes the horror. He isn't just being locked out, he's being erased. Identity first, then legally, and soon, physically. The scene cuts with Daniel staring helplessly at the door as it stays closed, not because he forgot a key, but because someone stole his place in the world.
Daniel refuses to accept what's happening. Only minutes ago, he was confident, calm, and sure of his place in this world. But now, with the police watching his every move, he desperately reaches for the physical proof of his home ownership. He keeps a small folder in his car. Lease agreement, HOA dues receipts, the documents that should end this nightmare instantly. His hands shake as he flips through the papers under the harsh flash of police lights. But the documents, they look wrong. The lease that once carried his name now shows the stranger's name, stamped, printed, official. Daniel stares at the signature, his handwriting, but the name next to it is not his. Someone forged reality. Someone rewrote his life on paper. Daniel tries to explain, "This was my signature, my lease, my home." But to the officers and the HOA, his panic now looks like guilt, like a man caught trying to break into a property he once dreamed he owned. The realization hits Daniel. Every piece of proof he trusted can vanish or be altered. He has no defense in a system designed to erase him. The police don't arrest him yet, but they warn him that next time they won't hesitate. He is allowed a few minutes to leave, like he's being granted mercy on territory that once belonged to him. Daniel drives away, the home shrinking in his rearview mirror, but a darker fear growing inside. This wasn't an accident. Someone planned this. The first thing Daniel does is call his bank, heart pounding, voice trembling. If his home records were altered, what about everything else? The banker's voice is overly polite, too practiced. "I'm sorry, sir, but we don't have an account registered under this name." Daniel's chest drops. He tries again. His driver's license? Stuck in verification error. His work email? Locked. Emergency contact profiles? No record found. It's as if Daniel never existed in any official database. His phone begins to glitch, apps logging him out one by one. Identity, money, records, deleting like dominoes. A normal man can lose his wallet and recover, but losing his existence? That's a death without dying. Daniel steps out of his car, breathing sharp, dizzying air. He scrolls through his contact list, hoping to find something untouched, when one entry stands out. HOA emergency line. He never saved that number. He never needed to. Someone, or something, placed it there. He calls. One ring? Two rings? A voice answers. Calm, almost comforting. "Don't worry, Daniel. You won't need a home where you're going." The call disconnects. Daniel stares at his reflection in the dark car window. But for the first time, he feels like he's staring at a stranger.
Daniel tries to steady himself as police lights fade into the distance, but his trembling won't stop. Officer Grant, the one who seemed less hostile, stays behind for a moment. He watches Daniel with the eyes of someone who has seen too many injustices buried under paperwork. Grant lowers his voice, glancing around like the air itself might be listening. "You're not the first resident this has happened to." Those words slice deeper than any accusation tonight. Daniel snaps his head up, demanding answers, but Grant refuses to say more. Fear in his posture, regret in his tone. "I'm off duty in an hour. If you're smart, you won't be here when I return." The warning isn't protocol, it's personal. Grant has seen lives erased like this before. People who vanished quietly, without fight, without proof they ever existed. Before leaving, he places a discreet card in Daniel's hand, a personal contact, a silent message. There are rules, and there are truths. When Grant drives away, Daniel looks back at the metal gates, the place that was his world, and realizes the horror. The HOA isn't just controlling his home, they're controlling his fate. Daniel doesn't leave. He hides in the shadows near the gate, desperate for answers. The night is quieter now, but the silence feels staged, like the neighborhood itself is watching. Guard Mark, the one who denied him, steps off his post for a smoke. Daniel confronts him, voice cracked by anger and betrayal. Mark tries to show confidence, but his hand shakes holding the cigarette. His eyes dart around, not wanting cameras to see his fear. Daniel presses harder. "How long have you known? Who gave the order? Why me?" Mark finally snaps. "You think I want any part of this? They told me if I ever questioned anything, I'd be next."
Mark's admission is a confession and a warning wrapped as one. He knows the truth, maybe all of it, but he will never speak publicly. Not while HOA controls everything inside these walls. Every camera, every document, every guard, every life. Mark leans closer and whispers, "Go before they decide you're a problem that needs removing." A cold wind sweeps through the gate as Mark returns to his post, the conversation already erased by fear. Daniel stands alone again. This time, the fear isn't being denied his home. It's the possibility that the HOA wants him gone for a reason, and he has no idea what he has stumbled into. Daniel refuses letting fear win. He waits, hidden in the shifting shadows near the perimeter wall. He knows this place better than anyone because he lived here. Or he thought he did. When Mark disappears inside the security office, Daniel moves. He scales a narrow landscaping ledge, gripping concrete like it's the last thing keeping him alive. The night air feels heavier than before, as if the neighborhood breathes in anticipation. Every motion sensor, every streetlight, every camera, Daniel knows their blind spots. Knowledge that proves he belonged here. At least once. When he drops inside the courtyard, the silence is unnatural. The houses look the same, but something in their stillness feels wrong. He sprints toward his building, heartbeat pounding like a warning alarm. By the time he reaches his apartment door, his confidence collapses into dread. Because, even from outside, Daniel senses there's something waiting on the other side. Something he isn't prepared to see. He unlocks the door, pushes slowly, and hell reveals itself quietly. The apartment isn't messy. It isn't robbed. It isn't even under renovation. It's erased. Every piece of his life gone. No couch, no photos, no clothes, no bed, no memories. Just emptiness. Like he never existed here at all. He collapses in the center of the barren living room, fighting every memory now, turning into doubt. Was he losing his mind? Was his entire life here a lie? He touches the wall where he once measured his height as a child. Only blank paint remains. The only trace of his presence is his voice breaking into silent tears that no one hears. Except someone does. Because Daniel suddenly notices a blinking red light inside the smoke detector. He's being watched, not by the HOA, but by someone who always knew he would come back.
Daniel pulls a chair and reaches the blinking device. The plastic burns his fingers. It's been recording for hours, days, maybe weeks. Inside a tiny SIM card, he inserts it into his phone. One notification appears. One new video message from unknown number. His hands shake as he presses play. The screen fills with footage. Someone standing right where he is now, in the empty apartment, speaking directly into the camera. "You don't belong here anymore, Daniel." The voice is digitally altered. Male or maybe female? Impossible to tell. But the message is clear. This isn't your home. You've been replaced. Stay out or disappear. A chilling laugh echoes at the end of the clip, followed by the sound of footsteps approaching the door. In real life, someone is coming.
Daniel returns to the complex from the opposite side, keeping to the shadows. His own apartment, the hollow place that once held his memories, now has lights on. Someone is inside. A silhouette passes the window, not rummaging, not settling in, moving like they've always belonged there. Daniel's chest tightens. He creeps closer, gripping the window frame with trembling fingers. He peers inside and sees himself. The figure in the apartment, same height, same walk, same posture. Even the way he scratches his jaw is identical. It's Daniel. A version of Daniel without fear, without confusion, without him. The truth hits like a hammer. He wasn't being erased. He was being replaced. The fake Daniel pauses, sensing something. He turns toward the window. For a horrifying second, the two Daniels stare at each other through the glass. The replacement's smile stretches slowly, perfectly, unnaturally. That smile isn't human, it's ownership. He lifts a phone to his ear, and Daniel's phone vibrates in his pocket. Incoming call. You don't belong here. The fake Daniel mouthed the words, "Goodbye." Then the lights go out, all at once, like the house itself blinked. Daniel stumbles back, heart slamming, understanding one thing. The imposter sees him, knows him, wants what he has. And the HOA has already chosen which Daniel deserves the home. Daniel runs, but headlights slice through the darkness. A black SUV with no plates speeds toward him. He barely dives behind a hedge as a vehicle screeches to a stop. Two figures step out, silhouettes shaped like authority, masked like anonymity. Not police, not guards. Enforcers. One flashes a flashlight beam across the lawn, the other speaks into an earpiece. Subject has breached the perimeter. Capture before phase completion. Daniel's blood freezes. They're not just chasing him, they're tracking him. He crawls low, muscles burning, mind screaming, "They've done this before. They'll do it again." And victims who get caught don't get a second chance. Daniel slips into an unfinished section of the community, a development still under construction. Bare walls, raw concrete, a graveyard of future homes. He finds the only place to hide, a dark skeletal watchtower used by site security. He climbs, breathing ragged, until he reaches the top. From there, he sees everything. The enforcers sweep the lawns with military precision. The fake Daniel stands outside watching the search unfold, calm, patient, confident he will be the only Daniel by sunrise. But then, Daniel spots another figure higher than him in the opposite tower. A man in a black suit. No movement except one hand, holding a tablet. On the screen, a digital ID file. Vicenter Project Reassignment. Subject: Daniel Hartwell. Status: Erasure pending. Estimated completion: 01:43 a.m. The man looks directly at Daniel through the darkness. One finger over his lips. Shh.
Daniel tries to climb down the watchtower silently, but silence doesn't exist anymore. Every breath feels like an alarm. He spots a sealed maintenance tunnel near the construction site, a metal hatch with a keypad, the kind used for staff only, or for secrets. He remembers the SIM card from the camera. He slides it into the keypad slot. A soft beep, then the hatch unlocks. Whoever installed that device wanted him to find this. Daniel drops into the darkness below, the air heavy with dust and metallic cold. The hatch seals shut behind him. No way back. He creeps forward through the tunnel, guided by a faint blue glow ahead. As the corridor opens, he discovers a vast underground facility,
hidden beneath the neighborhood he once trusted. Rows of glass pods, each containing a person. People alive, breathing, but unconscious, like frozen mannequins. Faces Daniel recognizes: the couple who used to walk their dog, the old man who waved from his porch, Elena, her eyes closed, wiped clean of memory. Name tags beneath each pod, status removed. These aren't victims of relocation, they're prisoners of replacement. Daniel stumbles back, gripping his chest as the horror takes shape. The HOA doesn't erase people from records, they erase people from reality. Daniel forces himself deeper, past steel doors and silent alarms, until he enters a nerve center glowing with monitors. Every screen shows standardized application forms, lease agreements, security footage, proof of the perfect lie. On the largest screen, live feed, Unit 14B. Fake Daniel cooks in the kitchen like he's done it for years. The system isn't trying to fool Daniel, it's trying to fool the world. A voice echoes through hidden speakers. Replacements are better. They don't complain. They don't question. They don't resist. Daniel whirls around. He's not alone. A woman steps forward, perfectly dressed, perfectly calm. Lydia Marrow, the HOA president. Her smile is sterilized. You were unstable, Daniel. Emotional, unpredictable. You were going to ruin the harmony we've built. He spits back. You're stealing people's lives. She responds with chilling certainty. We're improving them.
Lydia taps a tablet. A low siren hums through the chamber. Every pod in the room begins to drain its air supply, slowly. Daniel races to Elena's pod, pounding the glass, her chest rising and falling weaker with each second. Lydia speaks like a teacher correcting a child. You were scheduled for removal tonight. You broke protocol. Now we must finish your case first. She taps again. A new label appears on a screen. Subject: Daniel Hartwell. Status: termination initiated. Time left: 0600 minutes. The pods hiss loudly, the facility sealing itself for extermination. Daniel has a decision: run and survive, or try to wake the people who already forgot he ever existed. Either choice is death, but only one gives meaning to the life he's fighting to prove is real. Daniel slams his fists against Elena's pod, desperate to wake her, but the glass is reinforced with steel veins like a cage designed for eternity. The countdown echoes through the facility. 0510, 059. Lydia walks away calmly, her heels tapping like clock hands marking Daniel's last seconds. She's not worried. She's certain the system will handle him. Daniel spots the emergency oxygen override, a control panel mounted high above the pods. He climbs a metal tower to reach it, slipping in panic, his body torn between survival instincts and love for the people who once smiled at him. He smashes the override with a steel pipe. Oxygen floods the pods. They begin to stir. Faces twitch, hands tremble, lives begin returning. But security drones activate overhead, red lasers scanning for intruders. Daniel has saved them, but exposed himself. As the revived residents groan back to consciousness, Daniel runs toward the stairwell, only to find fake Daniel blocking the exit. Same eyes, same voice, same everything, except the smile. You weren't meant to survive. Daniel punches first, rage overwhelming fear, but the replacement absorbs the hit like a machine built from muscle and precision. Fake Daniel lifts him by the throat. I am the better version of you." Daniel gasps, fighting to breathe. "Then why are you so afraid of me?" For the first time, the double hesitates, and Daniel uses that moment, that crack, to smash the intruder with a fire extinguisher. The replacement falls, but not defeated. Its eyes glare with robotic stillness. The replacement isn't human. Not even close. Alarms scream, lights strobe red. The once erased residents stumble from their pods, confused, terrified, but awake. They see Daniel, bleeding, limping, but alive, and something ignites in their eyes. Hope. Daniel shouts, "They took your lives. Let's take them back." The residents roar, a chorus of stolen identities demanding justice. Security forces rush in, but they expected one Daniel, not an army. The uprising surges like a tidal wave through the underground halls, tearing down the lies one scream at a time. Daniel pushes through the chaos, toward the exit ladder. He climbs fast, every rung a defiance of fate. He bursts into the night, just as the facility explodes beneath him. Fire erupts through the earth, lighting the community in violent truth. Daniel collapses on the grass, bleeding, shaking, victorious for one breath, until he sees Lydia watching from across the street, untouched, unhurt, unbroken. She smiles. This isn't over. Behind her, hundreds of identical black SUVs drive in formation, not to arrest him, to reset the neighborhood. Daniel realizes he didn't end the nightmare. He started a war.